Welcome back to Matchday Live. It's half-time at the Etihad Stadium and it is Manchester 3, Nottingham Forest 0. In the studio with me are City legends Paul Dickov and Shaun Wright-Phillips. Wow, what a 45 minutes of football, and all I can say is Erling Haaland. I mean, Paul. I actually was sat in the seats going, I don't know what you can say.
We've just been laughing. We don't know what to say either. It's just, look, it's fantastic, and as good as we've been over the last couple of years, I think people thought that's the one thing we've been missing, is that out-and-out goal scorer. But, 9 goals in 4.5 games. It's just crazy. But his all-round game today has been fantastic. He's been holding the ball up, working hard for the team. A couple of times he's chased back and won it. But then, he's all 3 of his goals, he's in the width of the goal. All 3 of them. The first one's a great finish, across the near post, and his other 2 goals are strikers' goals. People say they're easy. We said before the game about his second goal at the weekend. It's an unbelievable instinct,
yes,
to have that in the right place at the right time and then finish it off. Just, look, I don't know what to say.
Matt, it really, I think we all hoped that we might get to this point maybe halfway through the season, but as you say, to only be kind of at our 5th game and, he's already now got another hat-trick, there's still a second half to play. Sure, how do you even go about, what are the Nottingham Forest defenders thinking at this point, and the keeper? Because in that 3rd goal, which we'll all focus on in just a second, we had the keeper doing doggies in between the posts.
It was, obviously, me and Dickie been in there talking, and it's almost, first of all, Forest have come here and done completely the opposite to what everybody expected, where they've got more defensive than playing the way they normally play. But then once you do that, and you're still 3-0 down, then you have to kind of look at your 5 defenders. They're leaving Nico Williams and Lodi one-on-one all the time against probably 2 of the best dribblers in the Premier League. So he has to tighten up on those areas. But going back to Haaland, I think on average to get Golden Boot, it's normally 22 to 23 games. He's halfway there in 5 games, 4.5 games. So there's clearly a lot more to come.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Well, we're going to focus on the goals in just a second, but looking at the team performance, Paul, as well, because it's so easy just to focus on Haaland. But, even I felt you could tell after the first 10 minutes, I think they'd only touched the ball a few times. It really felt like we started with a point to prove today.
Yeah, start front foot, playing with real intensity. We really, I know what Shaun's saying there, and I'm surprised that Steve set up that way, but we really pressed them back. And whenever they did win the ball back, we were swarming all over them, just Bernardo Silva, for the first 20 minutes was just magical again. Phil on the other side, Phil's coming inside, Cancelo's fantastic. John Stone's playing defence, splitting passes, but you could tell from the very first minute they were on it.
Yeah.
And they're just Nottingham Forest couldn't handle it. And they're lucky it's only 3-0.
Yeah, it could be a lot more. Imagine if Haaland had even got a couple more. But Haaland is the goal scorer of our 3 goals, which is it's frightening. And honestly, it's been at my end there, and just to see it up live, as you say, it's just a joy, and I'm sure his dad is very, very proud. There's an Alfie Erling Haaland chant that's slowly building. Remember the old Colo Yaya one? Maybe it could be the new Alfie and Erling one. Let's look at that first goal then. It was, as you say, we started strong, and it was we were pressing for the goal, and it came beautifully, didn't it?
Yeah, it most definitely did it. Obviously, me and Dickie were monitoring the game and watching the game, and we're like, look how he's just walking into space, sort of thing. He hasn't really touched the ball, but he's making all the right runs, the right decisions to try and get the ball. And I think when Phil Foden gets that ball, it's almost a replica cross to what he did against Palace. And I think that was his first touch, and he puts the ball in the back of the net. And then after then, I think Dickie will tell you, when you score a goal, it doesn't matter what position you're playing in. If you score a goal, you automatically think within yourself, you can do whatever you want in a game.
Yeah.
And in a way, he's kind of done that, and he's just done what a natural striker does, which they should all do, and stay in that width for the 2 posts. It's fantastic.
Especially off the back of his hat-trick Saturday, to get an early goal like that as well. He will feel invincible out there.
Yeah.
And his first goal, his movement was fantastic. As Phil's going back to whip the ball in, he's walking away, and then he just gets across near post and gets his foot there, and it's a great finish. But the team's whole round play, but him especially being the focal point. Because as Shaun said there, Shaun's bang on. He's not always getting the ball, but he's always moving. He's dragging defenders everywhere, and they're so scared of him.
You can't.
They can't leave him, and that's creating space for everybody else around him.
I think is as well with that first goal as well. Because like you say, it looked like he'd gone. He turns to go back. when we talk about his physical attributes as well, it's almost like he has been almost made because he's got everything. Because it's almost like he looks behind he's a bit behind the central defender, but it's his long legs that can still creep through. So for defenders, you must be thinking, what do we do to even try and combat him? Because if you go, right, well, we'll try to stop him from playing the balls in, but he can play it on the ground. And when they whip it in, his legs are still long enough to get in front of you. It's difficult, isn't it?
It is. It must be so disheartening. I mean, I think the centre half on the third goal, he was just in disbelief. He just shook his head. You know, I was saying wrong about it, but he's dragging Ellen's shirt. He's all over him. He's trying to be strong with him.
Yeah,
something nods at him.
Let's talk about the second goal then, Shaun. And it was a lovely one too. It actually looked like it was going to be Foden's goal. And this is the other thing we're talking about is goals, but the link-up play he had with Foden for that goal. I mean, Foden ended up assisting him. Was beautiful.
And that's what I think a lot of people forget or don't see. I think if you look at him, even with his assists before that he created that chance, he'd done the same thing, got turned, slid it in. He almost with that just turned and all in one motion, put Foden in straight away. And as a kid, you're taught when you pass the ball, don't stand still. That's basically what he did. He's passed the ball and he's jogged towards the goal just in case Foden shoots, the keeper saves it, that it might spill out. And because he's done the right thing, he got his just rewards from it, and it's a nice tapping on the right foot.
That made it 2-0, Paul, and then again we're pushing, and then comes the third goal, and it begins with, I can't remember what the word is, he mentioned it in Together Champions again, there's a word the Portuguese have for the outside of the boot ball, and we've seen him do it a few times, but I mean, it's a beautiful ball from Cancelo.
Sensational technique and vision to go and, I mean, I would have dislocated my hip back in the day. But it's the way he whips it, but the pace is perfect. You know, it just clears the defender's head at the back, and Phil Foden's done great. Phil and John Stones have done fantastic there, because there was a lot of pace in the ball, and obviously Phil just cushioned it back across. And a lot of credit's got to go to John Stones.
Yeah.
You know, because if he was more striker-minded, he probably would have went for that himself. But he's put the ball back into the area where we all know the big man's going to be. And as I said, his leap, not just people think it's easy. His leap, but to hold the defender off, if you clawing him all over the place.
Yeah. And he almost had the Ronaldo hang in the air though, because he kind of jumps and then he's still up there just to knock it in as well.
He's just cheating, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a cheat code. Yeah. And he's
6'6" and he still hangs in the air like that.
Yeah, come on. What hasn't he got? And the thing as well, I mean, that's 2 assists now for John Stones. Well, assisted him last week and he's assisted him this week. So again, we were speaking before about all the team getting to know him. And are you surprised at how quick it does seem to be happening?
No, because they're top quality players, and they want to play with top quality players as well. And they know, having played against him and seen him, exactly what he's about. And you know, they would have been excited when we signed him. Everybody was, but the players especially themselves. Yeah. You know, just seeing Ilkay walking off the pitch with him, and he just sort of patted him in the head and was just laughing. It was as if they said, that's what you're all about. That's what we know we're getting.
And that's why he's here, and he's doing the job. Let's mention Julian Alvarez. I mean, hit the post there with a few minutes to the end. Obviously, he's kind of got his first full start in the Premier League game. What have you made of those first 45 minutes?
I think he's played really, really well. His work rate's been phenomenal. You've seen him spray a few passes, so you've kind of seen he's got a good passing range as well. And I think him hitting the post showed everybody what he's really about in that area, because if you see the first touch he takes, he creates a space, but after he moves the ball before the shot, he doesn't even look up to see where the goal is or where the goalkeeper is. He just knows the goal isn't going to move, and the technique is perfect. He whips around it, he beats the keeper. Just didn't have enough bend on it, otherwise it goes in as well.
Quite interestingly, we thought he was going to play out on the wing, and they have had that fluidity, but he's almost been a bit more central, Paul. What do you think the thinking is behind that, rather than Bernardo being there?
I think to keep them guessing. I mean, I think Steve Cooper would, as soon as he seen the team sheet, he would have thought it would have been Alvarez one side, Foden the other.
Yeah.
And with Bernardo in the middle. You know, and obviously, you know, the left back they've just signed, Little is it?
Yeah.
You know, he must have thought, oh, welcome to the Premier League. You know, but he's a top. He played really well for Atletico Madrid against us over 2 legs. Yeah. And Bernardo's just, I think he's getting on spiral.
Yeah.
He keeps twisting him up, but I like Alvarez in that hole. He always wants the ball. He's lively. If the ball goes in beyond,
yes,
he's always in the move trying to get in the box as well, and no doubt.
Phenomenal energy as well, isn't
absolutely.
it? Runs just as much as Bernardo. Right, before we get some final thoughts ahead of the second half from our guests, of course, we play Who Stat. That is where we bring you 3 clues throughout our pre-match show, and then the halftime show we reveal who it is. So let me remind you of those clues. I think we did have some correct guesses coming as well. Clue number 1, this player played 181 times in the Premier League for 3 different teams, including today's opponent, Nottingham Forest. Clue number 2, this player had a spell where he started 35 of 36 Premier League games under Joe Royle, playing 90 minutes in 31 of them. And clue number 3 was that this player is a former teammate of both Paul and Shaun Wright-Phillips, and that was the one that solidified it. Now, we worked this out. Now, who got the correct answer? Was it a team effort, Shaun, or
I
are you
ain't
gonna
gonna lie,
it?
right? My guess was wrong before, but if it was right, to me, that would... We negotiated it, we had a discussion about it before I gave the answer out.
Okay.
Same thing he did, but for some reason, all of a sudden, it's not a team thing. It was me, he says.
Paul? He's changed.
We think it is.
Yes?
Alfie Haaland.
They're saying Alfie Haaland in the studio. We can reveal, bang, bang, winner, winner, chicken dinner. It was indeed the main man, Alfie Haaland. Quite appropriate as well, because that chant, I do believe, is going to ring around the stadium very, very soon. Well, we've just seen the Nottingham Forest players. They've come to the pitch early. They're ready. Quickly, what do you think Steve Cooper would have said to them?
What can they say?
He set the team up like that. He said to his players, you know, to come and play. And Steve's he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got to say, just try and keep the score down. You know, I've been there myself. I've been battered at half-time, and you're like, it's the old saying, don't go out and win the second half, or don't lose the second half.
Don't lose it.
Yeah, just confidence-wise, if it keeps going the way it's going, this could be 6 or 7 easily.
Don't get the ball to Haaland as well, I'm sure was said at some point. Well, listen, thank you very much to Shaun and Paul. Remember, we'll be joining you back at full time, hopefully, talking about a few more goals. The City players are making their way out onto the pitch from the tunnel. So I'm going to hand it back over to Alistair, Mann and Shaun Goater. We've got commentary in the app, and we'll see you at full time. Come on, City.
Thank you, Kel. Welcome back to the Etihad Stadium as City players are making their way out. There's just been a small delay. The players